The decoy steps away so I can get better acquainted with 29-year-old LoverManGenuis.
How did a station wagon, a cable bill, and an HOA Karen send this idiot back to jail? It's probably not what you think.
So, when do I get to see myself on TV?
That would be now.
I asked Chris Hansen just why this beast of a man got the softest treatment in history of TCAP arrests.
All right, easy. Just relax. Okay, easy. We're not going to do anything to hurt you.
But before we get to his answer, let's go back to the beginning. I present this unsung zero, introduced to the world as part of the New Jersey Sting on July 25th, 2007. His body was fit, but he couldn't spell for shit. Let's talk about Dwayne Chisholm, aka LoverManGenuis.
He's 29-year-old Dwayne Chisholm, a manager at a gym. He's been chatting online with a decoy for 2 weeks. Calling himself LoverManGenuis, he spells genius incorrectly.
Chris really bit into that misspelling. The entire time he says genius during this voiceover, it's dripping with satire. At a time when the public is demanding more representation on television, To Catch a Predator was years ahead of their time. They featured men who were gay, straight, bi, and other, and they came by car, foot, the grave, crutches, obese, and they even had a perverted hobbit take a trip from the Shire with a Mexican guy on the bus.
Actually, it was a conversation on the bus by a Mexican who was riding the bus. He says, there's a cement company. I know about one of those companies I'm going to try to check into.
No Predator was left behind or unheard by this groundbreaking production. New Jersey raised the bar though, because in the same place where we met Malik Washington, aka Loverboy212, we would now meet Dwayne Chisholm, aka LoverManGenuis. Okay, the names weren't original, but you can't argue with progress. Dwayne and the decoy chatted for 2 weeks before he drove to the Sting house. He was not shy. Within the first 2 hours of speaking, Dwayne wanted to meet the decoy, Wonderland Alice, face to face, in person.
He sends the decoy, pretending to be 14, pictures of himself as a bodybuilder. Then he sends her pictures of his genitals.
Have you had something that big already?
Not that big.
I bet you're a really good lover, very slow and soft.
I just hope you like it.
And I hope you like it too.
That voiceover, matched with that face, will never not be funny to me. Dwayne had no idea when he left the house that night reeking of Dark Temptation Axe body spray that he would one day qualify as a possible answer on TCAP Jeopardy! We already had a New Jersey Sting television first when Eugene Daly told Casey exactly what he wanted to do to her while cameras rolled, but this was just as troubling.
Here's a To Catch a Predator first. This man is here to meet a 14-year-old girl, even though he's been told her parents are home. The plan is for her to slip away when he arrives.
They don't stress this enough during the show, but Dwayne thought the decoy's parents were home and he wanted her to sneak out. He didn't want to wait for her parents to go out of town the next night, so he was okay with risking getting caught just trying to pick her up.
He brazenly drives right up to the house and asks the decoy if it's all clear.
Very nice.
Hey. Good, how are you? I'm glad you can make it. And guess what? My parents went to the movies.
Stop.
I swear, they're gone.
I love that he asked if it was all clear after he already got out of the car. These were not the actions of someone who had never done this kind of thing before. And judging by his later legal troubles, well, let's just say Dwayne has a habit of throwing caution to the wind. On this night in 2007 though, Dwayne is in luck, and Casey's parents were out for the evening. This gives them plenty of time to get acquainted on the sand while Dateline and local police gather evidence.
Now, LoverManGenuis is getting comfortable in our beach chair, and after only a few minutes of chatting, he wants the decoy to sit on his lap.
You wanna come on over?
I want to talk a little first.
No problem.
That's okay with you.
No, that's fine.
That was my cue to step in.
What exactly was the cue? A grown man awkwardly shooting his shot and getting rejected by someone he thought was a child? At any rate, he is at least pretty forward with Chris once Casey scampers away, ready to reset for her next victim, who is currently en route, but more on him later.
The decoy steps away so I can get better acquainted with 29-year-old LoverManGenuis. The girl you were chatting with online was how old?
As far as I know, 14.
14. You tell her that you want her to masturbate and think of you before she goes to bed. You know, all that's illegal to try to solicit a minor online, right? And then come up and try to have sex with them. What do you think would have happened tonight, Dwayne, if this 14-year-old girl was open-minded?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't want to say one thing or the other.
So you wouldn't rule out the possibility of you having sex with a girl?
He admits to knowing the decoy was 14 and also wouldn't rule out sex between the two of them. He also does that stupid thing Malik Washington does, where he pretends he doesn't know a minor can't consent to a sexual relationship with an adult.
Cause like I ain't came out here to rape or kill or anything. I'm not a bad person.
Well, you know what? But having sex with a 12-year-old, even if she says yes, is considered rape because a 12-year-old by the law cannot consent to having sex. Do you get that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that.
Even though he brought up the police less than 2 hours into their conversation.
I wouldn't force her to do anything that she would or wouldn't want to do.
But here's the problem. At 14, she cannot legally give consent, and that's why it's considered in many places statutory rape. You ever watch Dateline NBC?
I guess I'm on it right now, right?
So you kind of figured out what's going on.
Now Dwayne realizes this is being recorded for TV, and he is about to launch a desperate plea for sympathy.
You sit there and you're like, man, these poor guys, like, these guys are such idiots, and what are these guys thinking? And, you know, and you're like, you know, you see some guys that's just like, wow, like, these guys are just really, really disturbed.
He doesn't want you to group him with those other predators, because in his mind, he wasn't a predator. Those guys had problems, but LoverManGenuis, he had reasons.
Well, give me a sense of what went on in your mind to make you one of those guys tonight.
Just bored and lonely. I mean, here's my thing. I know there's no excuse. You get caught up in a rut. You work 70 hours a week. Life is tough.
Yeah, but I still don't get the link between working hard and grooming a 14-year-old girl online to the point where you have a face-to-face meeting in the hopes of having a sexual liaison.
I don't know.
Finally, Chris calls out the crew to set up his patented Dateline drop.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. We're doing a story on adults who meet kids online and then try to meet them for sex in person.
Wow. I mean, I'm apologetic for my behavior.
This is my favorite part of the confrontation, and nobody talks about it. Dwayne is about to pour out his heart in a show of contrition, and he hopes they will take pity on him and not use his confrontation as part of the show. He has no idea an arrest is imminent, so in his mind, this is his Hail Mary. Fortunately for us, the TCAP Dateline diversity god was about to toss a gift our way. Another POC, predator of color, has trotted his way into the public's hearts and minds. While LoverManGenuis continues to apologize, another man shows up.
Rolling up, rolling up. Uh-oh.
He makes a U-turn, then beeps the horn. Looks over, spots our operation, and takes off.
Whatever bullshit LoverManGenuis spouted here was all left on the cutting room floor in favor of this.
PA plate out of Philadelphia, James Eric Santil, 29.
Turns out he's a school bus driver.
I appreciate your candor.
Back at the house, LoverManGenuis asks an unusual question.
So, when do I get to see myself on TV?
I know he wanted that to sound smooth or funny, maybe even self-deprecating, but all the camera crew, the producer, and Chris heard was, holy what an amazing soundbite. I mean, they liked it so much they used it to open the show.
So, When do I get to see myself on TV?
That would be now.
This is make or break for LoverManGenuis. He is well aware that if this airs, his life as he knows it is over. His personal training business, personal relationships, everything he worked for will be gone. This is his moment, and he needs to make it count with a powerful monologue.
I understand.
Part of the process.
I understand. I'm gonna have a whole lot of people that I know seeing it and like, oh my God, this guy, he helps me out in the gym, and I might have to look for new work.
Then he falls down like an idiot and everyone laughs. This is Marvel humor at its finest. Bring on the police and let's wrap this up.
His trouble has just begun.
All right, easy. Just relax. Easy. We're not gonna do anything to hurt you.
The only thing missing from this lullaby of a takedown was a glass of warm milk, a soft blankie, and a reading of Walter the Farting Dog. Why were they so gentle? Was it A, these were multi-million-dollar beachfront homes and the cops weren't trying to piss off wealthy neighbors with loud arrests late at night? Or was it B, these predators often showed up one after another, ruining the chance for an on-camera arrest? I mean, look what happened when James Santil showed up during the confrontation with Dwayne. Predators were often hours, and in some cases a full day late because of various reasons. So was there another predator in the vicinity that they didn't want to spook with Dateline lights and cameras? I asked Chris Hansen.
I think it was a combination of both. Because the takedown was on the beach, they were trying to keep a low profile, but there were also other guys in the orbit at the same time.
So that finally answers why Dwayne's arrest ended with a kiss on the forehead and 30 minutes of Little Bill before lights out. Jerome Dwayne Chisholm pled guilty in late 2008 to his charges and received 180 days in county jail, 1 year of probation, lifetime supervision, and lifetime registration as a sex offender. This is where the story went quiet until a few years back when we got an update on LoverManGenuis. Unfortunately, the update was wrong. In 2021, YouTuber The Skip Tracer received the full arrest record and the real reason Jerome Dwayne Chisholm spent another year of his life in jail. It all came down to a rusty station wagon, 2 flat tires, and an HOA Karen. Honestly, to call it a station wagon is generous because it looks like something left over from the Mad Max set. This pile of junk was parked behind a cluster of condos for 2 whole years, rotting away and unregistered when someone in the building complained to the Building Homeowners Association. On April 22nd, 2017, police would send a letter to the address of the registered owner. The name of the owner? Dwayne Chisholm. And police were puzzled because his registered address was nowhere near where the vehicle was found. Police received no answer from Dwayne, so they then sent a letter to everyone in the area where the vehicle was abandoned. Long story short, police find out that Dwayne does live in the building where the vehicle was located, but not before he lies to them. He claims he doesn't technically live there and that his probation officer is well aware of his dual addresses. Both things are lies. As a Megan's Law offender, he has 10 days within moving to a new address to update the registry, but Dwayne owned this condo for years. The final nail in the coffin? A cable bill with his name on it and account history. They also learned he wasn't doing too bad with female companionship, according to one neighbor. Dwayne was arrested on the probation violation. Yet something else he shares in common with fellow TCAP first-timer Eugene Daly, who himself was sentenced to a year in jail on a probation violation in 2018.
I'm just gonna go on TV now? Oh, Chris, please. This will ruin me.
The funniest part of all of this? That rusty bucket of bolts that led to LoverManGenuis spending another year of his life in custody was found abandoned on Reckless Town Way. It's almost too poetic to be real. As of 2023, that's the last update we have on LoverManGenuis, who has stayed mostly off the radar. From his life in a rut to trying to smash teenage guts.
He could probably grab me with his hand and squeeze the guts out of me.
From big unit bragging to a busted station wagon, here's to you, Dwayne Chisholm, just one of To Catch a Predator's many unsung zeros. Any questions?
What do you think should happen to you?
Sent to an island.
Sent to an island.
Exile.
Exile an island.
These guys ain't no heroes. They suck. Unsung zeros. Unsung zeros. Unsung zeros. These guys are the worst.
Fuck you, Clobber.
I love it.